Hi, this is Bill Bourne. It might look a good bit strange where I'm talking to you from. I'm actually coming to you from Budapest. I had to think about it for a minute. Budapest in Hungary, and I'm pleased to be asked my opinion for Escouter magazine on social recruiting, where I think social recruiting is. I think some of you may know me. I'm Bill Borman, at Bill Borman. I run an event called TRU, which is the Recruiting Unconference. We run them somewhere in the world every 2 weeks. So that means I get to have a look at how things are progressing. And I think we're beginning to reach a point in the social recruiting market where there's probably more practitioners than non-practitioners, less so in the agency sector at the moment. I think there's certain reasons for that I'm going to touch on in a minute. But really, I think people are beginning to understand the benefit and seeing the benefit beyond just applications, the benefit of engagement, the benefit of talking to candidates, profiling people, getting to know people, and we're getting to good more stories. Some case studies which have been evolving over 2 or 3 years, things like UPS in the States, our Rock Cafe, TGI Fridays here in the UK. I think some of the work Deloitte has been doing, KPMG, and some of the accountants have been leading edge on it, which I think has been to do with perception of accountants and making professional companies interesting. So there's been, we're beginning to get some war stories and some best practice and some really good examples of things that work. But for me, where we're at is understanding the difference between traditional recruiting and social recruiting, which is something I get asked quite a lot. And I think the real difference is the difference between talk to and apply to. And I think we're moving fairly quickly where we could start looking at the whole application process. I think there's issues with the application process, whether it's to agency or to company, over time spent, the amount of information that's asked for, not getting feedback, the whole candidate experience thing. And I think that social changes that, because now that people have a social profile and have a footprint, so whether that's LinkedIn or some other place, there's not only to apply for jobs anymore, it's expression of interest. I think this is where we're going to be moving to, where it's an expression of interest and the recruiter's job becomes more proactive, which is when someone expresses an interest or engages with you in some way, you get the opportunity to profile them, have a look at who they are, and then direct them in the place that they want to go. I think we're going to hear a lot more talk about talent networks as opposed to talent communities as kind of a communication vehicle, but through social channels. Big issue is going to be mobile. You know, at the end of the day, if you're going to do anything social, it has to be mobile. You know, 65% of people tweeting do so from a mobile device. You're talking about a similar proportion of Facebook content. You're talking about at least 50% of the videos on YouTube are consumed by mobile. So you've really got to start looking at how do you create mobile-enabled content. I think the other thing that I've really noticed, Barclays Future Leaders is a great example in the UK, is we're beginning to incorporate social into normal recruiting places. So if you look at Barclays Future Leaders site, what you've got is a lot of rich content in terms of Twitter feeds, in terms of conversations, places where people can connect with candidates and engage and get a much longer feel. What the actual result of that's been for Barclays is the site's become a lot more sticky. So you've got people rising their time on the site from 3 minutes to 10 minutes, the traffic's up about 65%. Interestingly, the applications are down. About 45% from last year, but the conversion rate was 70%. So people are connecting with jobs a lot. It's not about connecting with jobs, it's about connecting with companies and using social to get a better idea. So I think social media, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube, whatever, Google Plus, even for Hangouts, whatever channels we're using is becoming ingrained in the way in which we communicate. It's the way in which the candidates communicate. I think what we've got to do as recruiters is understand mobile implications, and bring ourselves to work with candidates the way that they want to be worked with, rather than pushing the process on them. And so I think that there's a whole world of work that's changing, and just part of that is social. So do I think you won't exist if you don't go down a social media route? No, I don't. But I think equally you are cutting off a chunk of your supply chain, a chunk of the candidates who could be coming and working for you, or being candidates for your organisation. So I don't think it's something you can ignore, and social isn't about just being able to post jobs, it's about being social as an organisation, which is is the way in which you treat and engage and talk to candidates and work with people. For agencies, I think the big issue, including over mobile, is going to be trust and ownership of data. There's been agencies in the past have historically always been valued on the amount of data that they hold in a database, which makes it visible. Now we want to put the data in the cloud. We don't even want to hold the data. We want to be able to access it in places like LinkedIn and stuff. And talking about moving away from databases and everyone being able to carry everything around in a mobile device in their pocket, which is probably less than 2 years away. I think the big challenge, actually for all UK business, but agencies in particular, is number one, trust. Number two, accepting that you can't own data, and actually the value is in the interpretation of the data, not the data itself. And that's going to be a big shift for recruiters, for agencies, and if they can start to adopt a bit of a trust factor and understand that it's what you're going to do with the data that's going to be important, and trust the fact that people aren't stupid, they don't post stupid things online, then we're going to start to progress. So it's real exciting times. We're still, although we've got some companies that are 2 or 3 years advanced, we're also getting new into the market. So I know from being all around the world that it's exciting. I think it's something that in the UK we do particularly well. And I'm really excited about what's going to happen. So thanks Escouter for having me. It's great to talk about social media with some of the other people. We've got a True London event coming up in September. That's going to be September 6th and 7th. So I hope I can see you there. Thanks everybody, and thanks to my friends from here in Budapest. Cheers.